connection. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we're outside, and noise seems to be reduced in the
We're in
background.
London again. Oh,
Yeah, we're back in the UK. We're out near the manor. So, continuing our reading. Where are we?
Canto 4, Chapter 4, Text 8.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 8. Although she was received by her sisters and mother, she did not reply to their words of reception. And although she was offered a seat and presents, she did not accept anything.
Incoming.
She did not accept anything, for her father neither talked with her nor welcomed her by asking about her welfare.
Jeez.
Purport. Sati did not accept the greetings offered by her sisters and mother, for she was not at all satisfied by her father's silence. Sati was the youngest child of Daksha, and she knew that she was his pet. But now, because of her association with Lord Shiva, Daksha forgot all his affection for his daughter, and this very much aggrieved her. The material bodily conception is so polluted that even upon slight provocation, all our relationships of love and affection are nullified. Bodily relationships are so transient that even though one is affectionate towards someone in a bodily relationship, a slight provocation terminates this intimacy. So we've seen some examples of that lately, of not being controversial or anything, but even amongst because you feel like sometimes devotees may understand a bit more, but yeah, just seeing like if it appears there's some provocation or slight or injustice, it's quite interesting how you realise how deep the roots were in a relationship and then friendship, whatever, and then it's just gone. It's like, could be a year later and you just think, wow, what happened there?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's a good test and lesson for us all, actually. I'm not just pointing fingers at all of us, how we can exist on without even realising it, because we think we don't, but how we can exist on a bodily platform, at least on a level of what you do for me or how you make me feel, and if there was some upset, how quickly would we throw away that relationship, if that makes sense. Yeah, and I don't like as a pointing, so I'm talking about self, us, whatever like that. So I think, was it, anyway, I'm digressing. I don't know if it was Diana Ross and the Supremes or what. How deep is your love? Well, that's Smokey Robinson. But anyway, like that. How deep is your love?
Thought you were going towards we are family. But anyway.
The point is, when you have challenges and tests, relationships might sound obvious, but relationships are tested. It's very interesting, and people take sides, and how we behave, and do we remain neutral and a genuine well-wisher, or do we get swayed like that? It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, bodily attachments run deep, and you can see that even in families. I mean, here's a good example, but if, the father does something to the daughter, generally they say blood is thicker than water. So we see, I would say an example of something we see is when helicopters fly over, when we see that even amongst devotees, if something happens in a devotee's family, then the devotee will side with the family over the kind of the devotee family, you could say. Because blood is thicker than water. And, you would think that devotees, we would have imbibed the philosophy a bit more, but it's so deep, it's just such a powerful struggle. So we see here even Sati, who is the wife of Lord Shiva, and such an exalted person, she's attached. Her father is an exalted person, he's attached. So what to speak of us? I don't think that's meant to be an excuse. I just think it's meant to show us that, the illusory energy, the material energy is very powerful, and we become very easily attached on the bodily platform. Okay, text 9. Present in the arena of sacrifice, Sati saw that there was no oblations for her husband, Lord Shiva. Next, she realized that not only had her father failed to invite Lord Shiva, but when he saw Lord Shiva's exalted wife, Daksha, did not receive her either. Thus, she became greatly angry, so much so that she looked at her father as if she were going to burn him with her eyes. So we know this statement, hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. And I always got that wrong. I thought it was hell hath no fury like a woman's scorn. And I think both work. But later, when I looked it up for some reason, it said a woman scorned means a woman who's been, wronged, upset. There's hell hath no fury. And they say, if looks could kill, that's the saying also, if looks could kill, I'd be lying on the floor. Purport. By offering oblations in the fire while chanting the Vedic mantra Swaha, one offers respect to all the demigods, great sages, and pitas, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. It is customary that Shiva is one of those who are offered respects, but Sati, while personally present in the arena, saw that the Brahmanas did not utter the mantra offering oblations to Lord Shiva. Namah Shivaya Swaha. She was not sorry for herself, for she was ready to come to her father's house without being invited, but she wanted to see whether or not her husband was being respected. To see her relatives, her sisters, and mother was not so important. Even when she was received by her mother and sisters, she did not care, for she was not concerned for she was most concerned that her husband was being insulted in the sacrifice. When she marked the insult, she became greatly angry, and she looked at her father so angrily that Daksha appeared to burn in her vision. So anyone out there has ever given that look? Ladies? You can help some. Men, you've ever received that look? You know what I'm saying? Okay. So anyway, it's like that. So Namah Shivaya Swaha. Yeah, Lord Shiva is obviously one of the principal deities, and there's a trinity, Vishnu, Brahma, and Mahesh, or Shiva. So they obviously should receive sacrificial offerings, and so she was really perturbed. She wasn't there for herself. She did come because of bodily attachment, but at the same time, when she saw that her husband, whom she is also very attached to, wasn't being treated with proper respect, then exactly what Shiva was saying exactly. It's not the bug. I think that's the bug going out of here.
It was a giant bug.
It was microscopic. So, yeah, exactly what Lord Shiva said was going to happen actually wound up happening. So, there you go.
Okay, text 10. The followers of Lord Shiva, the ghosts, were ready to injure or kill Daksha, but Sati stopped them by her order. She was very angry and sorrowful, and in that mood she began to condemn the process of sacrificial fruitive activities in persons who are very proud of such unnecessary and troublesome sacrifices. She especially condemned her father, speaking against him in the presence of all. The process of offering sacrifices is especially meant to satisfy Vishnu, who is called Yagnesha, because he is the enjoyer of the fruits of all sacrifice. Bhagavad Gita 5.29 also confirms this fact. The Lord says, Bhaktaram Yagya Tapasham. He is the actual beneficiary of all sacrifices. Not knowing this fact, less intelligent men offer sacrifices for some material benefit. To derive personal material benefits for sense gratification is the reason persons like Daksha and his followers perform sacrifices. Such sacrifices are condemned here as a labour of love without actual profit. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam. One may prosecute the Vedic injunctions of offering sacrifices and other fruitive activities, but if by such activities one does not develop attraction for Vishnu, they are useless labours. One who has developed love for Vishnu must develop love and respect for Vishnu's devotees. Lord Shiva is considered the foremost personality amongst the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavanam yata sambhu. Thus, when Sati saw that her father was performing great sacrifices but had no respect for the greatest devotee, Lord Shiva, she was very angry. This is fitting. When Vishnu or Vaishnava is insulted, one should be angry. Lord Chaitanya, who always preached non-violence, meekness and humility, also became angry when Nityananda was offended by Jagaya Madai and he wanted to kill them. When Vishnu or Vaishnava is blasphemed or dishonoured, one should be very angry. Narottam Das Thakur said, Krodha Bhakta Dveshi Jani. We have anger, and that anger can be a great quality when directed against a person who is envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotee. One should not be tolerant when a person is offensive towards Vishnu or Vaishnav. The anger of Sati towards her father was not objectionable, for although he was her father, he was trying to insult the greatest Vaishnav. Thus Sati's anger against her father was quite applaudable. So it's interesting, isn't it, how the father, that's Daksha in the previous verses, it's explained, he's on the boat, he's the father and he's no ordinary man, like you said, he is Daksha, he's acting a bit silly, but he is quite exalted, yet he's acting on the bodily platform and dismissing his daughter because he has issues with Lord Shiva, who is his exalted son-in-law. Yet the daughter, who is junior, you could say, in the relationship of father and daughter, here we see Prabhupada is actually showing appreciation that despite her father being the one who's acting inappropriate, because there has been injustice and offence towards a Vaishnav, that's Lord Shiva, she's acting correctly because she's not allowing the bodily relationship to get in the way and saying, Dad, this isn't right, this is not good, and not being sentimental about it, but actually feeling some anger. Of course, someone from another angle might say, no, she is on the bodily platform because it involves her husband. So you're in the middle of the father and the husband, you've got to take one side, as it were. It was true. So you could say it like that, but it's interesting how Prabhupada actually is applauding her. He's saying it's quite applaudable, her stance towards her father, because her father, not because he's saying, you should disrespect your father, but he's saying because Daksha is disrespecting a Vaishnav, so actually what she's doing is correct, and he's showing respect for that. It's interesting.
Yeah, not only any Vaishnava, but Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, one of the greatest of Vaishnavas. Which is an interesting point. I was thinking as we were reading through it, okay, so, anger can be engaged against someone who insults Vishnu, the Lord, or the Lord's devotees, a Vaishnava. And then I was thinking, but what if it's one Vaishnava insulting another Vaishnava? Then how do you deal with that? Because there are different places in Shastra that explains that If there is a disagreement between two devotees, better not to get involved. And these things are not to be taken very seriously. What it is, it's just like right underneath some sort of helicopter training facility. So these things are not to be taken seriously. That's, it's like that. And we have to be very careful. And I was just reading, where is it? Maybe it was in Krishna book, that actually it's not uncommon for brahmanas to argue or have differences of opinion or agreements, a difference of opinion or disagreements. And this is part of the reason why Krishna encouraged Arjuna not to go to the forest and try to renounce, but to stay and fight, which was his nature. Because if he went to the forest and he got involved with the nature of the sages, sadhus, and brahmins in the forest, when they have some bickering or disagreement over something, then he might get in there and choose sides, whereas that's not the right thing to do. So it's a razor's edge, as Srila Prabhupada said, to know when to act and when not to act. But in general, I think this statement is that when a sort of non-devotee is blaspheming the Lord or blaspheming the devotees, then that person can be, we can utilize our anger. It's like Bugsville out here. We can utilize our anger on them, although we should also practice, caution with that as well. I think there's a story of in London, Soho Street, one sort of not so mentally stable person found his way into the pujari department, and he was making his way down the stairs onto the altar. And who knew what his intention was, but the worst case scenario is that he breaks the deities, or does something there. And one devotee took a metal pipe and whacked him, knocked him out. And when the police came, they arrested the devotee who whacked him with the metal pipe, saying that he used excessive force. And so, it's like, here you have some person not in his right mind about to do something that for us is like, sacrilegious, and you have to be.
It's private property.
Yeah, but you have to be careful.
Yeah.
So it's not that it's I don't think it's a how do you say? This isn't a license to just unleash on someone because they say something. Oh, Hare Krishnas are stupid, and then you beat them to a pulp. The point is that that's the time when we can use our anger.
Yeah.
But it's not that we're meant to unleash every ounce of anger that we have. And, of course, in this instance, we know that Daksha is a Prajapati. He's performing yajnas. He's also a devotee. He is also a devotee of Vishnu. It's not that he's not a devotee. He's actually quite an exalted person. It's just he's still a bit on the bodily platform. So you do have two devotees here, and we're about to see very soon what happens when people start unleashing their anger. And although Prabhupada is applauding it at the moment, but I'm not sure that we're going to hear the applause later with the certain things that start to happen. So we'll stop there.
Yes.
And we thank you all very much for your kind attention. And I guess we'll see you next time. Please read the Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, just an invitation, anyone who would like a set of Srimad Bhagavatams and or would like a set installed in your house or would like to do a Bhagavatam Bites with us, let us know. In the meantime, make sure you click the button down below in order to like,
comment,
subscribe,
and share.
There you go. All right, see you guys later. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.